Hey everyone, I'm your host Ray Ireland, and you are listening to the Soul Aligned podcast, where we help high achieving leaders and driven visionaries do what you love and live your purpose. So welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking about overcoming the imposter syndrome with confidence. So the imposter syndrome, this is a big one. What is the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome, if we look at the word imposter, let's actually look at that definition. That definition is a person who pretends to be someone else in order to deceive others, especially for fraudulent gain. So this is a pretty big word, right? There's a lot there. There's a lot of heavy energy there. And it's actually wild. It's so crazy how many heart-centered leaders I know, leaders, healers, entrepreneurs who are actually dealing with the imposter syndrome and experiencing this day after day or even year after year. So it's really important to note that, okay, if you are experiencing it, accept it and know that many, many people are experiencing the imposter syndrome, especially entrepreneurs. And so what I want to do is really invite you to go deeper into understanding what is actually happening underneath the surface when you are experiencing the imposter syndrome. So let's break down the imposter syndrome even more. So it's this feeling that you haven't actually earned your success. It can be defined as a collection of feelings of inadequacy. And these feelings will continue even if you've actually experienced success. That's the key, is that even if there's proof that, yes, you are successful, or and when I say success, we're talking in business. We're also talking in relationships, or maybe even in just how you treat yourself or your spiritual connection, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can find success in life, maybe in your health or your fitness. So looking at all of these different ways that you can find success, it is this experience that you are going to feel inadequate even if you find and experience success. So imposters, they tend to experience, or when you're experiencing imposter syndrome, you tend to experience extreme self-doubt. And there's this sense of fraudulence that is actually overriding any evidence or proof that you have of success. So when someone is experiencing the imposter syndrome, it can be very hard to move forward in life or business or in a relationship. The experience is really one of being stuck, of feeling like it's impossible to overcome whatever you're experiencing and move forward, because no matter how many points or evidence you gather, it will feel like it's not enough. And so, as I say this, I just want to invite you all to tune in with your heart here, because this is a really, really deep wound that is continuing. And I really believe that is coming up for so many of us in today's age to heal it. So that way we don't have to carry this anymore, because it's not actually serving, right? It's not helping those light workers, the healers, the heart-centered entrepreneurs. It's not helping you get to the next stage. It's actually holding you back. So we want to really recognize this and see what we can do. So, the reason this is such a heavy topic, and that's exactly why it's so important to catch this before you allow it to become a part of you, right? There's that saying of practice makes perfect, but actually it's really practice makes permanence. So if you're practicing the imposter syndrome and you're believing it and you're experiencing it and you're feeling stuck, well, you're practicing that experience. So first and foremost, you have to become aware that this is what you're practicing and empower yourself to start to really notice what's going on. Where is this coming from? What is actually happening? So that way you can start to unravel this whole thing and get to a new understanding where you can be more empowered in choosing what reality you want to be creating for yourself. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. I've dealt with imposter syndrome for a while, and especially in the first few years of business and also being an artist. And I will say most entrepreneurs deal with this. Most entrepreneurs that I know, that I'm working with, especially in the first few years of your business, it's so easy to feel like you're not enough. Right? That's kind of the core of it. So it's really important also to normalize this experience. So that way it doesn't become this debilitating thing that you won't ever be able to overcome, and it becomes this experience where you don't want to actually share the amazing gifts that you have with the world because you don't feel like they're true or authentic or aligned. So you want to really be diligent and looking and deciphering what is aligned, what is my truth, and what is not. The more that you can internally be living in that alignment to your best knowing, the easier it'll be to overcome the imposter syndrome, because you'll know deep down that you are aligned, you are being truthful, you are being real. And if you can accept and see those pieces of yourself, then it'll be a lot easier to also accept and see the pieces of you that are super successful and rocking it. Because if you're here, you're already doing that. Even if you haven't made little steps, or maybe you're in the first few years of your business and you feel like, oh, this is crazy. What are we doing here? I want to honor you for being here, listening, continuing your education, getting inspired, and reaching out to people that inspire you, and just understanding, what is this journey all about? That's really the key. So I have 3 easy tools that I actually want to share with you all, so that way you can overcome this imposter syndrome. And I'm going to be real, you can't just do these tools once and then boom, you're all good to go, free from imposter syndrome. This is something to continually do. And these are things that are part of my daily practice, not even just once a year or quarterly or monthly, daily, moment to moment. I practice these 3 steps. So step number 1 is to remind yourself of how freaking awesome you are. Gather the proof points of all of your success. How are you such a freaking awesome business owner? How are you the best sister, brother, mother, father, daughter, son? How are you the best friend out there? How are you the best lover? How are you the best artist, creative? Look at all of those pieces and remind yourself of how great you are and how great you're doing in this life. It can be hard, but I trust y'all can do that. So step number 2 is to receive. Another tricky one sometimes, especially for us givers that are always wanting to give. So step number 2 is to receive. Receive others and allow them to remind you of how awesome you are. So you don't always have to generate those emotions and experiences. You can actually be like, hey, sometimes I need some support, and that's okay. It's okay if you need help. It's okay if you need support. Ask those around you to shower you in love and appreciation. My favorite thing is appreciation showers. And so this is just when I'm feeling super down in the dumps. I'm you guys know what I mean, right? We've all been there. So when I'm feeling super down in the dumps, I love just asking maybe a dear friend or a family member, can you just give me a minute, a 30-second appreciation shower where I can just sit here and receive, please. And you know what? They're going to be so excited to do that because it doesn't take that long and they already freaking love you. So open up and receive that love so that way you can remind yourself. Step number 3 is to connect with things, experiences, people, environments that make you feel amazing and remind you of your true soul's essence. So for me, that's going to the beach. I love going surfing. I almost go every single day. It's also listening to music. It's eating amazing food. It's going on a hike. Nature is huge, but find your thing that really lights you up and reminds you of that deep exhale when you can just be like, oh yeah, here I am. Oh yeah, there you are. And it just reminds you of really who you are, what you stand for. And I suggest, creating these sort of environments in your home life, in your work life, so that way you can be reminded of this more often. Again, this is daily, if not moment to moment practice of these 3 tools to help you consistently overcome the imposter syndrome with confidence, because the with confidence piece is that you are doing this in a sustainable way. You can't just like smack on like some positive beliefs here and there when you're feeling down. You can, but like, is that actually going to transform your life, your business, your relationships? Not necessarily. It might not stick as well. So this is my invitation to you, is to practice overcoming whatever imposter syndrome you might be experiencing every single moment, and inspire others to do the same by just being your true self, your true essence. So thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next one. Big love.